Hey golfers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about something really important that I'm seeing a lot of in my lessons. Golfers trying to do a particular thing in their backswing that's making it so difficult for them, and it's not equating to the kind of golf shots that they want. So I'm going to talk about what that is. Also, I'm going to talk about how to achieve this perfect position at the top of the backswing. Nice club face matching the forearm and a flat wrist as well. And that all boils down to what this is doing on the club. So I've got a nice test for that as well. So if you want to find out what those are, stick around to the end of this video. And before we get started, if you could, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Let's get going. So we first have to understand the club face position at the top of the backswing here, okay? So if I take the club to the top, we want it to be square, okay? And square at the top of the backswing, I'll move it over this way so you can see it better, would be where the leading edge, you can kind of see that defined by the white line on this lag shot. You have 45 degrees. The way I like to think of it, matching the forearm. If you're matching your forearm with that leading edge, you've got the club face in a very good position at the top of the backswing. What do I commonly see? I'm going to see a lot of club faces this way, and I'm going to see some really good faces and some slightly closed where the leading edge doesn't match the forearm, but it's more this way. Okay, now check what your club face is in relation to your forearm. Is it open or closed? If it's pretty good, leave it. Okay, just leave it alone. If it is open, we're going to talk about that. If it is closed, you definitely don't want to do what I'm seeing a lot of at the minute. Okay, so let's get into more detail about this and find out what it is I'm seeing all the time. So you've probably guessed it. What I'm seeing a lot of at the top of the backswing is golfers trying to bow their lead wrist. Okay, so what that means is putting an angle, kind of like we see Jon Rahm, Morikawa. They do that for a reason, which we'll talk about. But this can be disastrous for your golf swing. Let's take, for example, if your face is good at the top. Okay, remember, leading edge, matching forearm. That's a good club face. We bow that. Watch what happens to the face. The face starts to really close, okay, and that is no good. So I'm seeing a lot of that where people are maybe trying to stop the ball from going to the right. It's typically happening for another reason. If you are a golfer whose club face is at the top, and again, I would see this a lot, face literally way down to the ground, you can see that the cup in the lead wrist as I do that, so it bends, bow, cup, very open. Well, that golfer, yes, if that is you, go and start to feel at the top that you can get some bow in that wrist, because that's going to really help you. If your club face is good, leave it. Don't worry about the wrist. And also, if you're closed, definitely do not bow it. Even if the ball is still going to the right, it isn't because of that. It's something after that point, and do not touch the top then, okay? Now, let's talk about how you could have a square club face at the top of the backswing, but this wrist could be bowed or cupped, and that is all based on how you hold it with your lead hand, okay? So we take those examples like Jon Rahm and Morikawa with the bowed wrist, but pretty decent club faces at the top. Well, if they grip it weak, which means the hand is too far around to the left as you look down, well, that's typically going to get the club face to the top in more of an open position. So as they bow it, they're able to keep the club face square. All right. Then we take somebody like a Matt Fitzpatrick, okay, who has an incredibly strong grip. So strong grip would be the hand way around to the right as you look down at the club. He can go to the top, have a pretty good club face, but have a lot of cup in his lead wrist. Okay, so essentially the same sort of club face positions at the top, but based on their grip, that is going to give different results at the top of the backswing. Okay, so the reason I make this video is for two reasons. I want you to check the left hand grip. I'm going to break it down here for you as to where I would like the lead hand grip, but also the wrist position at the top. I'm a big fan of having the wrist flat and the face the same as the forearm. I think there's far less compensations to be made from that. We're going to get into that, get the good left hand grip, good face at the top, so we don't need to worry too much about bowing or cupping or getting confused by what all that even means. So as I mentioned, I think a lot of golfers would be a lot better off if they got to the top of their backswing with the leading edge matching the forearm and the wrist nice and flat. Okay, it's very orthodox and there's not a lot of compensations need to be made from that position. Okay, so how can we do that? Well, I want you to test your grip, and I got a really cool test to make sure that we can achieve that position, right? Remember, if we're weak in this left hand, that's open. You got a bow. I want to build this very, as I said, orthodox, dare I say textbook. We get a strong grip. We got to cup it to get the face square. But what we're going to do, I want you to play around with this. Play around with different grips. So experiment with bringing the hand more around to the right, because some people watching this are going to have their hand too weak. Some people are going to have their hand too strong. And some people have their face perfect, in which case you'll nail this test first time and go, cool, move on to something else. All right. So we take the grip. Let's take the weak. So round here, if I lift the club up in front of me, kind of left arm parallel to the ground, shaft parallel to the ground, and make my wrist perfectly flat. You see that? Now what you can see by that would be that my club face is pointing down to the ground. So if I take that to the top of the backswing, flat wrist, very open face. So that's a way of testing and going, okay, my grip's too weak, right? Let's take the strong one and we'll get to the good one in a minute. Strong grip, okay, remember, lifting up, parallel, parallel. Now if I flatten this wrist, you'll see that face now pointing more that way, which at the top of the backswing, flat wrist, face very closed, all right? Now let's take a pretty neutral grip with the left hand here. Okay, and you just experiment with this. What does it take to actually get that club up? Now watch this. I keep the wrist flat. I can have the face perfectly to the sky. And if I take that to the top, you'll see flat wrist, club face, forearm matching. Okay, so it's such a cool one. I'll run through it again here quickly, right? You've got good, if your grip is good in your left hand, you should be able to lift the club, arm parallel, shaft parallel, wrist flat, club face should be perfectly up to the sky. And that's where you want to be at the top. That's the same structure here. All you're doing is putting the right hand on it and turning, and you'll be able to keep that club face really square to this forearm. Okay, and what you'll notice when you test it, if you've been too weak, you lift it up, you flatten the wrist, you'll see the face drooping down to the ground. Too strong, up, flatten the wrist, face won't point to the sky. All right, super test. And then what you can do once you test that and go, okay, my grip is good for this, you can start to work on achieving that nice leading edge and forearm alignment with the flat wrist, which is going to lead to far more consistency because you don't have as many compensations to do in the downswing. Okay guys, so the mad one, something I just wanted to get out there because I feel like a lot of people are definitely getting this kind of just confusing it, overcomplicating it, and because we see a lot of bowed wrists, we kind of assume that that's what we should do and it kind of looks cool, but there are advantages in the downswing of bowing the wrist to shallow the shaft. I love that, but I wouldn't be too keen on working this thing. Plus you got a really nice grip test there to make sure that you can get that club face square at the top of the backswing. Okay guys, so listen, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to let me know where you're watching from. Thanks guys.